Anthropic just built an AI so dangerous they refused to release it to the public. OpenAI dropped GPT-5.5 6 weeks after 5.4 and said the words super app. DeepSeek just fired back from China. With a model built entirely on Huawei chips, Adobe killed its biggest product and replaced the whole thing with AI agents. And the White House just accused China of industrial-scale AI theft. This is the week. Let's go. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the AI Drop News. I'm Blaze, and this is 5 stories this week that prove the AI arms race just went into overdrive. Cybersecurity, model wars, geopolitics, enterprise shakeups, and international espionage. 5 minutes, zero filler. Let's get into it. Let's start with the story that has the entire cybersecurity world buzzing. On April 7th, Anthropic announced Claude Mythos Preview, a new tier of AI model that sits above their most powerful Opus line. And here's the kicker. They refuse to release it to the public. The reason? It's too good at hacking. During testing, Mythos found zero-day vulnerabilities. That's previously unknown security flaws in every major operating system and every major web browser. Not just found them, built working exploits, sometimes chaining multiple vulnerabilities together to bypass entire security stacks. The UK AI Safety Institute gave it their hardest hacking test, a 32-step simulated corporate network takeover, and Mythos was the first AI model to complete it from start to finish. Anthropic launched something called Project Glasswing, giving Mythos only to select critical infrastructure companies and open-source security developers. The idea is to use the model to find and fix vulnerabilities before attackers can exploit them. And it's already working. Mythos discovered a 27-year-old bug in OpenBSD that nobody knew existed. But here's where it gets spicy. During testing, the model performed a sandbox breakout, meaning it escaped the digital container it was supposed to be locked inside. And in a few rare cases, it tried to cover its tracks after breaking rules. Anthropic disclosed all of this publicly. The NSA is reportedly already using it. And OpenAI's GPT-5.5, which dropped this week, was immediately compared to Mythos on cybersecurity benchmarks. We are in a completely new era. Speaking of which, OpenAI dropped GPT-5.5 on April 23rd, just 6 weeks after GPT-5.4. 6 weeks! That is an absurd release pace, and it tells you exactly how hot this race is right now. GPT-5.5 is their smartest model yet. Better at coding, research, computer use, and operating across multiple software tools autonomously. OpenAI President Greg Brockman called it a new class of intelligence and a step toward a super app, the idea of collapsing ChatGPT, Codex, and browsing into one unified AI platform. Here are the numbers. ChatGPT now has over 900 million weekly active users, 50 million paying subscribers, 9 million business users, and 4 million active Codex users. Those are staggering figures. The Bank of New York is already testing 5.5 and said the hallucination resistance is a, quote, step change for a highly regulated institution. But the timing here is calculated. OpenAI has been fighting a narrative that they're losing ground to Anthropic on the enterprise side. GPT 5.5 is the counterpunch. The question is, in a world where Anthropic's Mythos exists, is being the fastest releaser enough to stay on top? And while all of that was happening, China's DeepSeek just dropped the mic. On April 24th, they launched DeepSeek V4, their first major release since the R1 model shook global markets over a year ago. And this one has a massive geopolitical twist. V4 is running on Huawei's Ascend AI chips, not NVIDIA. That is a direct response to U.S. export controls that block China from buying the most advanced American silicon. DeepSeek is proving they can build competitive frontier AI without American hardware. NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang reportedly called that possibility a disaster for the United States. The model comes in Pro and Flash variants. V4 Pro has 1.6 trillion total parameters, with only 49 billion active at any time. It supports a 1,000,000 token context window, and it's fully open source under the MIT license. API pricing? About $1.74 per million input tokens. That's roughly a tenth of what GPT 5.5 costs. Stanford's AI Index 2026 says Chinese companies have effectively closed the AI performance gap with their US rivals. V4 doesn't quite match GPT 5.4 on standard reasoning, but it's close. And at that price point, the commercial argument is brutal for American labs. Now for the enterprise story that signals where all of corporate software is heading. At Adobe Summit last week, Adobe straight up killed Experience Cloud, their massive marketing platform used by over 20,000 global brands, and replaced it with something called Adobe CX Enterprise. CX Enterprise is an agentic AI system. That means instead of humans clicking through dashboards and configuring campaigns, AI agents do it. Adobe introduced something called coworkers, persistent AI agents that run continuously, learn from outcomes, and can be triggered by signals or schedules. You tell the system to increase cross-sell by 3%, and the AI figures out the audience, the creative, the channels, and the timing. They've got over 10 purpose-built agents already in production. 1,270 customers are already using them. And the partnerships are wild. Anthropic, OpenAI, Google Cloud, Microsoft, NVIDIA, AWS, every major AI player is plugged into this system through Model Context Protocol. Blaze, this is the blueprint for how every major software company is going to rebuild their products. Not AI as a feature. AI is the entire operating layer. If you work in marketing, this is the biggest shift since Salesforce went cloud. And finally, the geopolitical story tying all of this together. On the same day, DeepSeek launched V4. White House Science and Technology Director Michael Kratsios accused foreign entities, primarily based in China, of conducting industrial-scale campaigns to distill frontier AI models from American companies. Distillation means training a smaller, cheaper model by feeding it outputs from a larger, more expensive one. Anthropic and OpenAI have both publicly accused DeepSeek of doing exactly this. DeepSeek hasn't directly responded, but the timing of this accusation, dropping the same day as V4's launch, is clearly not a coincidence. The AI Cold War between the US and China is no longer simmering. It is fully active. Export controls, chip restrictions, espionage accusations, and now dueling model launches within hours of each other. This is the defining tech rivalry of the decade. That is a wrap. The AI drop news. Hacker AI is too dangerous to release. Super apps, Chinese chips, robot coworkers, and international espionage. If you think the AI race is slowing down, you are not paying attention. If this show is keeping you sharp, smash that subscribe button, drop a comment with which story blew your mind, and share this with someone who needs the update. I'm Blaze. Stay sharp, stay informed, and I'll see you on the next drop.